Hi guys, today we're going to make a paper tree. So as you can see over here, we have lots of stacks of paper. And what I decided to use is one of my old books. Now you can use any book you want, any size you want, but I realized if you get something from like the 70s, your paper is probably going to be a little heavier. If it's too old, your paper is going to crack and you're not going to be able to bend it. So I just found a great resource book. And it has some really nice paper, a little bit yellowed, but it's still sturdy enough that I can squish it and bend it. So the sizes I'm using are 11 by 8, but you can use whatever size you want. You're just going to do accordingly. You're going to make it either bigger or smaller, and you'll see as we go along. So some of the other things you'll need are some wood slices, or at least some sort of a heavy base and a top for your tree. I have some log slices here, or you can use dowels or spindles, and we've cut them to 6 inches. And then I have some mat spray, some tacky glue, and then you can either use mica or some sort of a glitter. Then you'll also need a couple screws to put your base together, and a hot glue gun. And last but not least, my paper wire or a piece of heavy wire. Okay, so what we're gonna do is start with our paper. And I've already divided it all out so you can see it in the different size ovals or circles that we are going to need to make for this project. So I have 25 sheets of paper here. And to start with, we're gonna do, I'll just kind of read through them really quickly and show you. We're gonna need to do 8 extra large, and they're gonna end up being at about a 9 by 7 oval. And then we're gonna do 6 of the large that are 7.5 by 6. 4 of the medium, and they'll end up being 6 by 5.5. 4 of the small, and they'll be 4 by 4, and we're gonna fold that in half before we use it. And then we're cutting our paper in half. So that's where we get the extra few sheets of paper. We're gonna need 3 of the small, 1 more of the top, and then 1 that's circled for the topper. So let's just start with the beginning. We're gonna need 8 of these larger sheets. And these, I said, were 8 by 11 sheets. So the first thing you wanna do is just squish it up into a ball. And if your paper, like I said before, is too old, it's just gonna crunch and break. So what I do is kind of scrunch it up and then open it up again. And I start with the corner and think you're folding in. So I'm gonna go like this. You just really need, you can see how I did this, just the edges you're gonna fold under. And this is gonna be approximately 9 by 7. And then you're just gonna continue on for the large and scrunch and keep doing till you have 8 of that size done. So let's get to the next size after we've done 8 of the extra large. Now I'm gonna do 6 of the large size, and that one's still gonna be an oval, and it's gonna be 7.5 by 6. And once again, we're kind of estimating, and the best way to do this to start is look at the one you've already done, the larger one, and then start squishing it again under. And then when I get to the end, I can see it's about this size, so I'm gonna go around again and squish it in one more time around the edges and bringing the paper under. You want it to be just a little smaller than the other one. You're going to just use this as your guide. Do the 6 of the large ones. And then you're gonna do this 6 times until you have these done. Okay, now we're going to the medium size. And we only have 4 of these, and I'm doing this at 6 by 5.5 inches. And really what you're wanting to do is just make them just a little smaller than the one before. So now you're gonna get 4 of these done and put them aside, and then move on to the small size. Now with this, you're gonna do 4 of them. But what I do first is fold the sheet of paper in half, and it's gonna be a little thicker. You still wanna scrunch it up a little. And it'll be a little harder because it's folded in half, but it's gonna be just a little bit thicker. Oh, this one's gonna be more of a circle, 4.5 by 4.5. You have 4 of these done. Okay, now we are moving on to these half sheets. And we're gonna do 3 of the extra small. So you're going to do 3 of these. When we get to the next stage, it's an extra small. So you're only gonna do 1, and you're gonna be using a half sheet of paper for this. And this is just gonna be 2.5 by 2.5. So what I do is, literally, since you're only doing 1, you're just gonna start squishing it, making it small, going round and round. Then line it up to the last one you did, that was 3.5 by 3.5, and just make sure it's a little smaller. But what you also wanna do is really bring these edges up. You wanna squish it way in so the edges are gonna come up, and you're gonna see why, because this is where we're gonna hold it and put our button through to hold this tree together, so you want it up. So it's gonna be just like that. And we're gonna get to the very last one, and it's the topper. And this one's gonna be done really similar to the one we just did, just even a little tighter. Squishing it and bringing my fingers in so it brings it into a little ball. And you can see up underneath. Because when we put it together, we're actually gonna put this one upside down inside of this one. So it gives you the top of your tree. Okay, now that we've got all our paper folded together, we're gonna put our tree together. Some heavy cardstock circles, or I happen to have a ton of coasters, so those work really, really well for the bottom base. And then what I had also done is cut out a little heavy cardstock circle for the inside, and it needs to be smaller, maybe an inch or less. So first thing we're gonna do is just poke a couple holes in this big one, and I'm gonna take my paper wire. Now if you don't have paper wire, I just love using this, but you could just use any sort of a wire that you want. Not too heavy, enough that you can bend it easily if you need to, but strong enough that it's gonna hold your tree together. So what I'm gonna do is start and put my paper wire through this little hole, bring it back through this hole, and then just twist it around to hold it. Because if you start doing this just through the paper, it's just gonna rip your paper apart. So I'm just gonna twist it. And this is about 24 inches long. And by the time you get your tree done, you can, if you make other ones, you can see really how much did I need, how tight did I want my tree, do I want it taller or shorter? So you're taking the inside where you've curled it in and just poke it through. So the first one I'm putting that way, so it faces one way because this one is the oval, and the next one I'm putting the opposite way. So what I mean by the opposite way is the oval right here. You see the longer point is this way, going up and down, and then the next one, the point is going horizontally. So you do that with these oval ones because they're not circles, so you're not going to be able to line them right up. And then just continue on with these. And you can just string them all through and then move them around afterward even. And if it's hard to get your wire through, you can always take it and wrap it around a real large eye needle and just poke it right through. You can just see the different layers. Then we're going to start with the next section, doing the same thing. And actually you could use scrapbook paper or any type of paper you'd like. I just thought it was fun to use book paper because I have so many old books. Okay, and once again, we're gonna kind of just swivel these around and then get to these 4, and these are circles. So you can go right in the center, or you can even go like a half an inch off to the center one way and half an inch off to the center the other way. So it gives you a little more dimension on your tree. Okay, now these ones are the double folded, so I'm just gonna make a little hole in them. This is the one that we did 2.5 by 2.5. We're gonna do it upside down. So this part is coming up on here. Okay, so now we're gonna get to the very top of the tree. That little cardstock circle, you're gonna punch a little hole in with just an awl or just a needle or something, just so your wire can get through it. And it's gonna make it a little sturdier on top too. Then you're just gonna take your wire and shove it through that and stick it down inside this space. And at this point, you kind of wanna look at your tree and decide, do you want it taller? Do you want it a little tighter? You can push it down. So whichever way you like it, you can see some of my trees are a little taller and some are a little shorter. Okay, and now what I'm gonna do is take this button. I'm gonna go through one of the holes, and then I'm gonna go back down through another hole. Before I push it all the way down though, I wanna see how tight I want my tree. And you're gonna push it a little bit, and then pull your wire through, and this is gonna keep it, you can see in there, nice and tight. Now all I'm gonna do is just wrap some of this wire around this button. And this is just gonna hold it. If you have a little excess, go ahead and cut it off. The next thing we're gonna do is glue this on the top. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is take a little bit of glue, hot glue, and put it in the center of this. And you're gonna take the last ball you did, which is gonna be going upside down like this, and you're gonna just kind of form it over that little button and that piece of cardstock. And I'm just gonna put my hands under a few of these and press it down and form it up. So you have a little ball on top. Just make sure it's secure. At this point, you can kind of just play with your tree however you like to make it the shape you like it to be. So now we're gonna do our base. And I told you we were gonna need some wood slices. On a few of them that I did, I just actually used some wood pieces I had cut. And I just happened to have a lot of these log slices, so I thought I'd use these. But like I said before, you could use a spindle, you could use a dowel. You just want something heavier and a little larger for the bottom, and then something a little smaller that's actually gonna be underneath the tree. Because I drilled a hole in each one of these, so whatever you decide to use, just drill a hole in there. And I have this little piece of wood and it's 6 inches long. And all I'm gonna do is just start to screw it in. I'll set it on top of this wood. Or if you have a nail gun, that's even better. Just nail it in. There you go. And then you're gonna do the same thing with the top. Okay, so when you have your top and bottom screwed together, nice and straight, not too wobbly, you're gonna wanna put this onto your base. So you have this coaster or your heavy cardstock at the bottom. And what I'm gonna do is just hot glue this heavy cardstock. And you could use any type of glue you like, really. This just works really well on this. I'm gonna set it right in the center of the base. Get underneath a couple sheets of these layers here and press down. So the last part we're gonna do is glitter our tree. If you wanna make it really quick and fast, just get the spray glitter and just spray this little puppy up, and there you go. We can do it a different way too, but you can just get whatever spray adhesive you have. Normally I do it outside, but you know what? We're not gonna. It is so windy out there today. And then I also usually do this in a box so then I can save my glitter. But now this is the mica, and I'm just gonna kind of go like this. And this tacky glue is great. And I'm gonna use a little bit of a rose gold and a little silver too. I'm just gonna sprinkle that on a little bit. Then when you have little lights on it, it just sparkles everywhere. But once again, you could use blue glitter if you wanted. You can do whatever color you would like. You still kind of want to seal it, so I have this matte finish. And you can use any sort of a finishing spray to seal it. Hey. And there you go! Now if you want to, you can add a little bird to the top, a little paper star. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you get to make a lot of trees. Thanks!